Algorithmic thinking, or creating an algorithm, is really just coming up with a step-by-step procedure for solving a problem. It's a step-by-step procedure, typically that can be repeated with different data, and it still works. But the steps in creating an algorithm are relatively simple. It involves deconstruction, which means taking the problem apart into smaller pieces, solving each of those smaller pieces, and then putting it back together in a meaningful way. So if I have this problem, kind of looks like a little bento box, right? So I've got, if you can imagine it as a bento box, right? What you do with a bento box is you take it apart, right? You take the little containers out. And if the containers maybe have other containers inside them, you might take those other containers out until you have sort of all of the containers individualized. All of the different problems or little pieces of the problem are separated. And this does take some skill and does take some understanding, but really, what it really asks you to do is to keep asking the question, can I break this apart? Can I break this into simpler problems? And if you keep asking that, sort of like a 4-year-old kid always asks, well, why? Why? Well, and you finally get to the point where you're like, because I said so. Not really. But if you keep asking, can it be broken down more? Can I simplify? Can I simplify? You'll eventually get to this phase where you've got each little problem sort of simplified enough that you can solve those individual problems. So you solve one of them at a time. And then once you've solved all the problems, you put it back together. Sort of like after you've eaten your meal, you put the empty containers back in the bento box, right? So that's reconstruction.